In this video, I'm going to start to discuss some of the different aspects of the audio bus structure within Halion. It can be quite confusing if you don't know where to go, but we have several different ways that we can control the sound of our program. So I'm going to try to cover what I think are the most important topics in this video here. Now, I've gone ahead and recorded just a simple tune here with 4 different instruments in Halion here. So you can see we have the 4 different MIDI ports assigned to the different slots, and these are all being fed from different MIDI channels within our host software. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is open up our mix console in Cubase, just so you can kind of see what's going on. So we have a single instance of Halion with 4 different instruments. And Halion is represented by this main fader here within our host software. So let's go ahead and start playback here. You'll see if I take this fader and move it up and down, we kind of control the overall volume of Halion from within Cubase. But what if we want to separate these instruments into different channels in our DAW software? Well, Halion actually has 32 available audio outputs that we can use to feed our DAW and kind of split these onto different mix channels in our software. You'll see on each slot how if we expand the slot rack, we have an output section that's by default routed to Halion's master bus output. This master bus is essentially what's feeding this fader in our DAW software. In Cubase in particular, as well as other hosts, you'll need to add channels in your DAW to receive the audio from these different slots. Now, Cubase users, you'll see in our VST instruments rack where we have the Activate Outputs button on the Halion instrument. This will reveal all of the 32 stereo outputs. So we first need to activate them. Pro Tools users will essentially just create new aux tracks. So as we add these output channels for the Halion instrument, in our Cubase mixer, you can now see how we have the different faders available to receive the outputs of Halion. So what we need to do is assign each slot a different output. In this case, we'll leave slot 1 set to master, come down to number 2, we'll change this to output 2. Change our drum kit to output 3, and the grand piano to output 4. Now when we play back, you'll see we have those instruments on different mix channels within Cubase. This allows you to apply EQ, compression, and different effects directly from within your host software. You'll also see each slot has its own master volume control, which we could essentially use to accomplish the same task, but we can also get an overview of all of these slot outputs by visiting the mixer, which is one of the tabs in the default screen set. But remember, you can always add it by clicking the new tab button and choosing mixer, or you can view it as a separate window by coming under new window, editor, and choosing mixer. Now in the mixer view, there's several icons above which essentially show us the different audio buses, not only of our slots, but also of individual components within a given program, which we'll be talking about in the next video. But to view the slot outputs, we need to click on the slot icon. This will show our bus slot outputs. So we could even use these faders to mix. Control or command clicking on each fader will set it back to its default value. Now, any audio bus also has its own set of insert slots that we can use to add effects. So we can expand the channels to reveal those slots by clicking on the right arrow for a given channel, or we can expand all of the channels by clicking on the right arrow icon up here. So if we wanted to add a little bit of EQ to our bass, we just click on one of the insert effect slots, then we can drill down to EQ and choose one of the included EQs. And each audio bus has up to 8 insert slots that you can use. The signal flow goes from top to bottom. So it's pretty easy to understand once you know where you're going. In the next video, we're going to take a closer look into the audio bus structure for individual programs. We'll see you guys in the next video.